Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to
smash
there,
like.
That right there is now our advertisement. I'm just cut out the like, comment, subscribe. It's just gonna be that.
Dab on that bell.
Dab on that bell.
Welcome to Heat Wave. My name is Michelle Belcher, and I'm joined with Brittany Saturn.
Brittany Saturn.
And over the phone, the phone, Discord, internet, some kind of like ethereal way, we're joined also with Jairus Mitchell. Thank you.
The hip.
Very energetic. We're also joined by Chris. It's the Hutch Hutcherson.
Hutch.
Look
Listen,
at this.
I'm saving my energy.
We're multitasking.
Yeah.
We're doing the like name thing where I can like sync us up with the introduction. I really
we don't
appreciate
want to
you
waste
guys.
time. We gotta go.
We gotta go.
Jairus.
We gotta get back to bed.
That's right.
I gotta get back to bed.
So this is a kitchen sink of a podcast, sometimes about video games. And we're actually going to be recording 2 episodes today because Brittany has got stuff to do next weekend.
You don't have to tell them that.
I wanted to. If I want to break the fourth wall, I will.
That's not like... That adds nothing.
Well, then I'm not changing my outfit then.
I wasn't. That's exactly why I was saying it, because I don't want to change my outfit, and I've got all this shit on my face from trying to pull all the hair out of my face.
Yeah, so tell us about your face.
I bought an epilator, and my advice is to not buy an epilator.
What's going on? Did I have a stroke?
Did you?
You're kind of all over the place.
So. I hope not.
You can understand the words coming out of your mouth, so it sounds like you haven't had a stroke.
I don't have aphasia. That's good.
Your face isn't drooping. Nope.
You can't see his face though.
I don't smell toast.
That's good. Doesn't smell
good.
toast.
Okay, well, you guys talk about whatever y'all want then. I'm just going to hang out.
Well, fine. I want to do it now.
I'm taking my internet ball and going home. Ah, fuck. I'm already home.
Shit. This is my living room. All right, well, then fuck it.
Today, I want to talk about a thing that I found in... that I should have found in a Walmart dollar movie bin, but didn't. Instead, found it on the rack. It is a 2014 film called Brick Mansions, starring Paul Walker, David Bell, and RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, I'm already sold.
So I haven't watched this movie yet.
Oh, even better.
I have done a weird deep dive on it.
Okay.
Because like opening a wine, you need to let it breathe. That's a sloppy metaphor. So it is a French-Canadian remake of what's it called? District B13 or something? District 13.
Okay.
Which
wait a minute.
is
District
a Luc
13
Besson film. It's not the South African alien movie.
Thank you.
That's District 9. This is 4 districts past that.
My favorite thing is you knew exactly where my brain went.
Yeah.
That's what I thought too. And my other thought was that was the movie that was originally going to be the Halo movie.
Mm-hmm. And that's how we make it about video games.
So it's set in the year 2018 in a dystopian Detroit. And Paul Walker is an undercover cop who has to chase down RZA. And I really want to watch this movie because it's produced by Luc Besson and it's written by Luc Besson. And it's starring Paul Walker and RZA.
No, as soon as you said Paul Walker and RZA, I was down. First
I
of
could
all,
have stopped at Paul Walker. I know that.
I know you could
I know
have.
that half of our brand hinges on the existence of Paul Walker.
You know, thank God for him. Because if we didn't have Paul
Rest in
Walker, what
peace.
would we talk about? Rest in power.
I'm
Diesel.
reading the description. It kind of sounds a little bit like what was that movie, Judge Dredd?
Judge Dredd?
Yeah.
The new Dredd?
Yeah.
So the one we watched, I guess.
Oh, yeah, the new Dredd. The
Dredd.
one without Sylvester Stallone.
Right.
Yeah.
The good one.
With Keith Urban.
Well,
Carl
there is
Urban.
already a movie that's like a parallel, and it's that movie with I think it was Steven Seagal and Dennis Rodman. What was that?
Wait a
called?
minute, what? What? That
Are
sounds
you thinking
wild.
of Demolition Man?
No, let me see what this is.
If he is, whatever he's talking about has to be an off-brand Demolition Man.
Yeah.
Double Team. Oh, no, excuse me. It was Jean-Claude Van Damme, and it's called Double Team.
Did you?
I
Don't you
could
dare
not
confuse
imagine-
Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal.
I could not
I knew it was an
imagine
action
Steven
movie,
Seagal and Dennis Rodman existing in the same room without Dennis Rodman stabbing Steven Seagal.
Yeah, but they're polar opposites. Like, Steven Seagal is like a narc cop now, and Dennis Rodman is the ambassador of the United States to North Korea. So, doesn't work.
So for a second,
Is he
I
really?
stroked out and thought that Steven Seagal was in Free Willy 2, but that was another guy.
And to answer your question, yes. But, yeah. No, God, I haven't seen Free Willy in so long. I don't fucking know what you're talking
The
about.
second one. I'm not talking
Oh,
about the
no,
first
never
one.
mind. I never watched the second
Wait,
one.
did he get captured again?
Yeah, he was trying to get captured again.
That fucking whale can't help but get captured immediately.
So
It's out for 5 minutes, and there's a Japanese fishing boat that's just like harpooning it.
it's very similar to that. I can't remember exactly what the premise was, but I remember that like they had to save his family because like they were coming to get his family this time.
Okay.
And at the
What
end,
if
there was like an oil
Free
spill.
Willy 3 is Free Willy traveling back in time on the or on the Enterprise,
Yes.
and becoming Moby Dick.
Yes.
I never saw the third one. We should have a Free Willy marathon.
No, not my favorite thing is how many things that you just put together right there, Jairus, because that's actually my favorite Star Trek film.
Ouch.
Star Trek 4 is great.
What?
Star Trek 4, they go back in time to save some whales. They bring them back to their time so that the whale aliens don't destroy Earth. I'm not even
There's
shitting
like a
you.
weird thing with space and whales. Like Carl Sagan talks about whales all the time. He's like, if we can understand what whales say to each other, we can understand aliens or whatever.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, what?
It's the Sequest DSV. Like there was a period in the 90s where everyone was like, why are we going to understand space when we don't even understand the ocean?
Yeah.
The ocean is more vast than space is.
So I have a question, Jairus. Wow. Jairus, have you never seen Star Trek 4?
I have,
Okay.
but I'm just my hair is blown back because you said that Star Trek 4 is the best Star Trek, not Star Trek 2: The Wrath of Khan.
No, that one, like objectively, that one's the better one. Subjectively, 4 is my favorite. It's just funny
You
as
just
hell
really
to see
like San
Spock in the
Francisco.
1980s.
I have no goat in this race. I don't. I haven't seen any of them. So
Okay.
I haven't
mean-
seen either of them.
I think we can all agree that they're all better than the first one, which is a 3-hour slog.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Worst 3 hours of my life. Could have been watching Titanic.
You can't.
I-
It's leaving HBO Max by the tomorrow.
Oh God.
You gotta watch it tonight, Brittany.
Actually,
But
we got
yeah,
till Tuesday.
Jairus, we're gonna watch this movie together, though, right? Like, even if like you got to stream it or some shit.
Probably.
All right, cool. Because I really want to see this movie. I like anything RZA does as well.
So there's a review. I'm on Rotten Tomatoes right now. This film has a 25 from critics and a 47 from the audience.
Oh, perfect.
one of the reviews from Chris Kilmeck from The Village Voice says, almost no one in this film is allowed to play to their strengths.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Perfect.
I never
I'm
even
really
heard of this
excited
movie
by
before.
that.
I want to see the massive mediocrity that is over at Jairus' house now.
Over at Jairus. But no, I've never even heard of that movie before. And apparently it was made in 2014. Because, like, when he first told me about it, I Googled it real quick. And I was like, this must be, like, really old or something. It was 2014.
Yeah.
It was near Paul Walker's
Was it
like
like a
end of his time,
direct
which
to
is weird.
DVD or because like
No, it was in theaters. As I'm scrolling through the Rotten Tomatoes user reviews, Mohammed A gave it 4 stars and said what I think is probably going to be all of our review. Love it. Rest in peace, Paul Walker. It might have been District B13.
That my favorite thing that I'm learning about all this is how many movies there are that are just district and number.
Yeah.
That's a
Well, like I think it plays into the trends and tropes that exist within like the movie industry. Because like I think Michelle was talking about it a little bit ago. Dread and like The Raid and that kind of going up tall building and doing shooty.
Yeah.
Like that was a consistent trend for a while. And I think a lot of it is just things getting remade. And I think Luc Besson's really good at just like making a movie that is capable of being remade in like 45 different ways, with the exception of Valerian.
Well, yeah. The Valerian is its own topic. I could talk about that movie for a bit, but
Luc Besson's just the coolest.
he really is. I mean, like, honestly, I think we should just like annually a part of the French budget should just go to letting him just do whatever the fuck he wants. And I'm not just talking about just making movies. Like, if he wants to make a theme park, give him the money. Like, whatever that man wants to do, just let him do it. I'm sure it'll be a part of French culture, and we should just, it'll be amazing. But, yeah.
So one of the also search for phrases in Google underneath it says, "Is Brick Mansions a real place?" And the answer is no. In case you were curious.
The poster is great because there is an actual brick building. It's like 4.
Yeah, there are
stories.
a couple of those in the world.
Wow.
What the fuck? This poster.
Okay, I'm gonna have to put that in now.
So I was imagining when I read the description, it was this giant, like, huge skyscraper they got to go through to get all these criminals out. This is like a 4-story building. It's super fucking small.
So that poster is different from the box art that I have, which is just Paul Walker running away from an explosion. RZA appears to be chasing him as they run away from an explosion. And then another person who I assume is David Bell is just like standing still but looking like he's running away from an explosion.
So
if that paints a mental picture.
You know, that paints the mental picture of exactly what you said at the beginning of the topic, that this was something that you should have bought at the fucking dollar bin at Walmart. Why do they keep changing the covers for the dollar bin to something shittier? Because they do that all the time. Like, and it's always just a real big close up on like a famous person's face who might have not even had that big of a role in the movie.
Yeah.
And like an explosion or like one thing that actually has anything to do with the movie itself.
I have that bone. I have that bone to pick with the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
They have their reissued covers now where it's just like the logo with this color like splash behind it, and then like a hero or maybe just the heroes rather than the unique Well, I mean, nowadays it's just a big old collage of duders, on the front. But at least there was more artwork to it, and nowadays it's just got like a silver background and some shit. It really sucks, and they kind of transitioned all like the digital like box art to that style as well.
It just kind of reminds me of the conversation of like Japanese game covers versus American game covers, where the Japanese focus on the environment and the atmosphere and like a little bit of the character, whereas American game covers, it's always like the character is front and center and that's it.
Mm-hmm. And they're mad.
They're always angry. Kirby, they gave Kirby an angry face in the American version. What the fuck?
Because no one wants to play with this cute
He's ready
little
to suck shit up.
pink ball.
So,
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Because I'm on IMDb looking at this movie, I just discovered another film. And I think there is a depth of mediocre, of like low budget Paul Walker movies that we could really tap.
Oh boy.
This is called Vehicle 19. It's from 2013. And the plot summary is: in Johannesburg, an American parole breaker unwillingly picks a rental car that will tie him to a web of corrupt local police.
I'm sold.
Hey, I'm excited.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and give us the extra 5 minutes here because we had like 10 seconds left. New podcast idea. Literally just watch every Paul Walker movie.
Just keep going through and watching all of his shit.
Watch every single movie he's done until we run out of Paul Walker movies.
Okay, would you say with the exception though is that he has to be like have at least some sort of main role in the movie? It can't just be like a little cameo,
a walk-on part or cameo. Yeah, sure.
No, I think we could. I think we'll need additional content, so I think we can spread it to Paul Walker exists in the film.
Yeah. I think that's. I agree with Jairus.
Well, so that two questions. Mm-hmm. One, do we want it to be a limited run thing? Because if it's a limited run thing, we can just do only films that he stars in. Mm-hmm. But the real question is, are we going to go chronological or thematic?
Ooh.
I would not say chronological because
that
I think it would be good to go back and forth, like between like some of his older shit and some of his newer stuff.
Or, in my opinion, some of his good stuff and some of his not so good
stuff. And some of his hidden
gems. Don't talk about Too Fast, Too Furious.
I will never say anything bad about Too Fast, Too Furious. That movie is amazing, and it introduces Luda to the Fast and Furious franchise and Tyrese, and there's nothing wrong with that.
You know, I've only seen that movie one time. I'd be down to watch it again.
I love Too Fast, Too Furious. I love every fucking Fast and Furious movie. There's not a bad one.
There's not a bad one.
The first one and the fourth one are kind of slow. That's it. They're not bad, but their pacing is slow.
Yeah.
I have a poster of the fourth one, and I'm just like, of all the ones I could have gotten for free, it's the damn fourth one.
Damn you, slick deals, for only having a deal on the fourth Fast and the Furious poster.
I got it for free from State. They so they're on.
He stole it.
Their campus cinema, like they would give away like old movie posters, like sometimes. So I've got like that's how I got that one, and I got one of Serenity, which I'm actually still one of my favorite things I have.
Hey guys, that whole time we've been recording, I just had the audio behind us. I didn't have the Heat Wave logo going, so that's good. We're professionals.
Hey, some people like to see how the sauce is made.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You guys got a sneak preview to the sauce.
Dips.
Can I also mention one thing about the poster?
Yeah.
So the one I'm looking at has a picture of Paul Walker, David Bell, and RZA on the building, and there's like 3 rows of windows under like each like kind of superimposed on top of them, and on the second row there's an explosion out of the 2 of them under Paul and David, and they're both jumping out of their respective windows, but there's nothing next to RZA. RZA is not jumping out of shit because he's too cool for that.
I sent you guys an amazing little picture that I found of them just jumping out of a window, presumably to their deaths. It's in the little group chat.
Wow.
And we can also throw it up on the screen.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. So all I get from all these posters is that at some point people are going to jump out of this building, and I'm down. I want to watch this.
It's going to explode. People are going to jump out. The building's not as big as you'd think it would be. Not necessarily a mansion.
I mean, yeah. Okay. Well,
let's see. I want to get that picture for you too.
So, yeah. So, Jairus, when are we going to watch this? Because I want to experience this as well.
Yeah. Well, we can go out on the trailer.
Okay, we're going to watch the trailer together.
We can.
All right, let's watch the trailer together. I'll put it in. I'm going to just
hold on. Give us a second because the rest of us have ads.
Yeah.
Like plebs.
Okay.
I've got a soap commercial. That's
okay, hold on. Just pause it when it starts.
I got a deodorant commercial.
I am ready.
All right, and this thing is... Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Knock the door down. 1, 2, 3.
Whoa.
That's
a naked white man.
Whoa.
There's a lot of parkour.
Parkour.
I'll be honest, this looks awesome.
Yeah.
Detective, there's a situation that
here we go.
The best.
That brow.
Brick mansions. It's so dangerous we built a wall around it. No one wants it. Now the leader's got the mayor and half the city hostage.
Wow.
There's a...
Think you can handle it?
Handle needs handling.
RZA looks effectively intense.
We've got some.
Yeah.
I'm pleased with that.
The convict is my partner.
I got a plan to get us in.
Us?
First chance you get, what are you gonna do? Put a bullet in the back of my head. He could have killed you already.
Now, Cass.
This is gonna be a lot of fun.
What you doing here?
Steering wheel.
Whoa.
That was some 3D effects there.
Ooh,
I was going to say, this probably had a...
Taught you how to speak English.
What rating is this?
Yeah, I know, right? Just got, I wasn't sure if those women were going to kiss or fight.
Both.
That'd be awesome. Oh, we're turning down for what now?
Did he just cannonball through a window?
Yeah.
There's our car chase.
So he's gone in and out of several buildings via windows.
Yeah.
So good poster.
There's the explosion.
There we go.
God, it looks so fucking stupid.
Oof.
Whoa, it's Mike Hagar.
It is, and he's just got hit in the head with a giant brick.
Oh, man.
Coming soon.
Can't do that to the mayor.
Well, I don't think I can be more excited than I am right now.
Well, that's great. We'll all watch that together.
Yeah. I'll rent it. I don't give a shit. Like, we can do the
Push play
at the
same time type of deal.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna have to do that sometime soon.
I can't wait.
Well,
it's PG-13.
I'll have to ask my mom if it's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, guys, watch this movie because I'm sure we're going to have another topic about
post-brick mansion.
Post-brick mansion. So, go check it out. I'll put a link to stuff in the doobly-doo, and we'll see you on the next segment.
Bye.
Oh shit! It cost $28 million, and worldwide it made $71
it's
million.
actually that's not bad.
Yeah. It didn't make its money back in the US, but worldwide it did.
That seems like a video that
That's great.
It's
other
only
countries
90
would
minutes.
like more
That's
than
great.
us.
Hutch, I'm just really pleased with what everyone did. Just good work all around. Everyone should be very proud.
All right, bye,
Okay,
everybody.
Bye.
Want to see us perform live? Use that big brand of yours and follow us on Twitch. We do things live there sometimes.
Okay. I hit the timer. That means it's my turn now. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to my segment where I'm going to roast the fuck out of Hutch for not telling us and reminding us that his birthday was coming up. And we didn't even mention it.
Yeah.
It was his birthday. And by roast, I mean we're going to tell our favorite stories about Hutch.
Shit. Now my brain has to change direction.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so my first question I would say is like, Hutch, we recorded an episode. Why didn't you tell us it was your birthday?
I totally forgot. Because
fair.
it was Sunday and not Thursday.
Can we do a Phoenix Wright thing? Because I've decided that I'm going to be on Hutch's side.
Okay.
Sure.
Even though so we're going to object to all the nice stories that we have for Hutch.
Objection. Michelle, why is the impetus on Hutch to tell you when his birthday is and not on you to do your research if you care about your friend as you claim you do?
Because I forgot to write it down on the calendar. Because I bought a planner at the beginning of 2020, and now I look at it on the floor, and I'm like, fucking piece of shit planner. Because there's no point in planning anymore. Nothing matters.
This whole year is out the window.
I wrote across the entire calendar for April, canceled is what I wrote in the planner. Because I have no memories from April. I don't even know what I did.
Yeah, no, that's kind of fair.
That's next month, right?
Yeah. Anyway, one of my favorite, I love Hutch whenever we do any sort of marathons. There's a point of delirium that comes with all of our marathons because we all push ourselves way too much. And the first year we did the Cinco de Mario, I was up with Hutch most of the night while he was playing Mario Galaxy. And at one point in the morning, he started singing this song that I think was a spoof on this other commercial. And it was something like, come on in, sit right down. And then he was like, honey, pull your pants on down. And he just could not stop laughing. We had the giggles for 10 minutes. And then when I asked him about it later, I was like, what song are you singing? He could not remember it at all. He was like, I don't know.
I'm glad you touched on that, on the delirious Hutch giggles, because those are one of my favorite things in the world.
They are.
Hutch typically responds to delirium and exhaustion with either frustration or giggling. And sometimes, at Mega Manathon, an event we do, I don't know
I feel
how to
you
refer
put that
to
in
anymore.
quotations.
Yeah, you know.
I could feel those quotations.
A lot of times, Hutch previously had gone in the direction of frustration, but more recently, it had just turned into hours of Hutch just this is and that delirious giggle is one of my favorite things. Hutch, my favorite shit about you, I don't mean this to sound this isn't a cruel statement. You're really funny when you're frustrated. When you
I love it when you're mad.
No. I always empathize because you're usually frustrated about really reasonable things, but it's funny when you're frustrated about unreasonable things and you just huff. I don't know. That isn't supportive good birthday talk.
No, I think that like whenever I get really frustrated, sometimes like self-deprecating humor or something like that usually kind of at least helps put me back in a more better mindset, maybe.
Yeah. So
laughter is the best medicine.
One of my favorite things about Hutch is he lets me get away with a lot of bullshit. I don't know why. I don't know. He's such a patient man, but whenever I'm like, "Hey, you want to do this dumb shit?" He's usually like, "Yeah." And not only is he like allows it, he's like, "No, we're going 100%. I am in. We're going to do this." And he helps.
I have done thorough research on how to do this dumb bullshit.
Yeah, we're going to do it in the dumbest way possible. And then like and sometimes he outdumbs me. My favorite is whenever we start streaming and like of course he loves playing video games. We all love playing video games, but he has an absolute delight of being the person who's editing the stream to add as much bullshit to the screen as possible. There was a time when I think he added like 30 goddamn animated GIFs to a stream of me and Juggle Boy and him playing some games and turned us all into like just dancing GIFs. We were just made of dancing GIFs in our faces. And just moments like that are delightful.
And then someone does like a screenshot and then we have no context for it, and then like a year or two later we'll see the screenshot and be like, what the fuck were we doing that night?
Yeah, like one night I shaved half of my face for money or something, and we put on Mega Man helmets on everybody, but he took the Mega Man helmet that I was wearing and made it half of a helmet.
I was going to mention that specifically.
It's one of my favorite things about him.
There's one where Juggle Boy's playing through Nier, and Greg was here with us, and I threw just as fucking much stuff as I could, like, behind us. There was eventually, like, a fireplace with Luis, like, on top of it. I turned Greg into a spaceman. I gave him a space helmet with a little sheriff, like, star on his... And then I put, like, a no-weed, like, thing in, like, the top corner. And a skeleton. I need to find it. Because it's really dumb.
Oh my god, yeah. Anytime I really miss, like, that's the only really thing, like, of course I had a lot of fun living with Hutch and whatnot, but one of my favorite things is I miss being able to just walk in on some bullshit stream he was doing and just be a part of the nonsense. So
I miss his laugh through the wall.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my god, it'd be like fucking 3:00 in the morning, and me and Brittany are like, we're up or whatever because we're all night owls.
But we'd hear Hutch through the wall.
He'd be like,
it's a good.
Oh god. I found the image, and it's even better than I remember. Here we go.
All right, yeah, you're gonna have to put give me the stuff so I can put it on screen. But yeah, it's wow.
So like a lot of times Hutch plays the straight man.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that he can't just perfectly deploy like some weird shit zinger. And sometimes it catches me off guard.
It does me all the time. That's why it's so fucking funny, because I just
that's why he's on the podcast.
I wasn't expecting.
No, seriously. Like, there
are a lot of reasons, Michelle.
There's a lot of
Hutch
reasons.
Is a valuable
Shut
human
up!
who can stand
Let
on
me
his own
finish.
two
I'm
legs.
not done.
It's his birthday.
You can't object until I'm done. But like, that is like one of my like number one reasons. Like, oh yeah, of course I want to be on a podcast with all my friends. But Hutch is just like, he'll just say some shit out of nowhere that just destroys me, and it's amazing. So yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, he's got to be there just for that.
Sometimes I get a good zinger in.
I would say like at least like once an episode you get a zinger in, and I don't, and it's always just like random as fuck. At least once, usually more, but at least
Hutch
once.
has encyclopedic knowledge of the dumb shit we've talked about and joked about.
Yeah.
And sometimes he can just build the perfect query in his brain that brings the right thing back. And it's some shit that I didn't even remember was a joke, but it like in one phrase he'll remind me of that joke, reestablish the context, and like bring it forefront in my brain, and it's delightful.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things.
I mean, to get serious for a minute, Hutch is fucking amazing, because if it wasn't for Hutch letting us live with him, I would never have started my Etsy business. I would never had the means to do that, and I don't think we would have been able to get our job at Limited Run either, just because everything lined up in such a way. So I'm always like super thankful that Hutch allowed us to mooch off of him for 3 years.
3 years. When we moved into him, I told him we might be there for like 2 months.
Yeah.
You moved into him?
We did. We moved into him.
Yeah.
All the way in. I lived in his chest cavity. Michelle lived.
Did you have a bridge between them?
We did.
So I think all of us, all three of us have, well, all four of us have Hutch to thank for our current life circumstances.
Absolutely.
Because when I got my job and needed to move out to the area quickly, Hutch was like, yeah, sure, fuck it, come on.
Yeah, it was really bizarre because like during that time, it was like what, a week afterwards that we moved into?
Something like that.
It was something
very
crazy.
Very close.
I think it was longer than, I think it was a couple of weeks, but I can't remember because I just started a new job.
Yeah.
And everything kind of like goes wobbly around there.
You know, it was hard because like, you know, me and Brittany lived in a fucking living room. But I do value those like those brief few months where all four of us lived together. It was a lot of fun. One of my favorite memories was when I stole Hutch's copy of Metal Gear Solid 5 from him. And me and Jairus started playing it in the living room. And we just had this like wild moment where we just like got to experience Kojima for the first time together. Like anytime you see a Kojima game for the first time, it's an experience. And doing it with friends is even better.
Yeah.
And realizing that you can shoot people with a balloon gun that puts that just pulls them away. I remember that joy laugh.
And like it was just one of those really perfect times where like even though we were all struggling in our own ways at the time, like Hutch allowing us to all be together was just like one of my favorte moments.
Yeah,
Hutch
I do miss. I miss being around both you. Or all of you, not both of you.
We're just
like,
two
which
different
both does
people.
he mean?
Yeah.
Or does it work?
So sometimes me and Brittany get put together as the
It's
same
fine.
being.
You can glue those together, I guess. Whatever.
I think that's where mine was. Yeah, but yeah, I do miss like just having easy access for banter and just sitting down and playing shit and stuff.
Easy access for banter.
I mean, it's true. Like I used to
Hello,
just be
fellow
like,
humans. I would like some banter.
I would be bored and I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to get up and go into Hutch's room. Sometimes we wouldn't talk. Sometimes I would just go in there, sit on the couch while he was like working or watching WrestleMania or whatever the fuck he was doing. And he'd be like, hey, I'm busy. I'm like, that's cool. I'm going to sit here and watch you do what you're doing.
It's so creepy.
It was. It's pretty creepy.
If I was you, I'd have been like, get the fuck out of here.
He did a couple times. But no, it was one of my favorite things. So we'd come in there and like it was either like he'd tell me about what he bought on Slick Deals recently or what's available, and I was broke. He'd be like, hey, you look at this, it's only like $30. Like, I don't have $30. But or we'd get into some weird deep conversation about like at the time I think a lot of it was politics because like at the time that was the issue.
Yeah.
But
not unlike now where all of it's been settled.
There's a lot more going on now, though.
Yeah.
That's all political based, but yeah. Anyways, that's off topic. But we would have like really good conversations, and I miss being able to be like, "Hi, we're gonna talk."
Yeah, we had good.
Be my friend.
And other conversations.
Sit down and friendship me.
But I just wanted to say happy birthday, Hutch. I'm sorry that
birthday,
it's
Hutch.
fucking weird, the pandemic, so we couldn't have like a get together or anything.
I appreciate it. I had to work anyway, so I didn't do much of anything. I streamed Grease, which was great. That game was beautiful and awesome, and I was so glad that I finally played it, and it fit just in time. Like it was a good, like solid 4 hours. Like it fit right into the stream time.
That convinces me that I need to play it.
I need to play it.
Oh
too.
yeah. Another thing. So another story that you guys would get a kick out of. It's funny that you called me out on not mentioning my birthday. So I went down to stay with my friends that were living in Miami at the time for a week. And it happened to go over my birthday, and I didn't mention it to them because I thought it was weird. But of course they're on Facebook, right? So like it was like my birthday. They realized like, why did you tell us it was your birthday? I didn't want to like guilt trip you to throw me a party. It's like your guest. And so they never let me forget about that.
There are so many opportunities. Hey, I'm coming down for a weekend. Is that cool? Yeah. What do you want to do? Anything special? Is there any interesting things going on that is leading to you coming down here? Oh, no, nothing at all.
And then the day of his birthday, they wake up, check Facebook, they're like, "What?
What the fuck?"
They just said, "Hey, you want to go to the beach?" Like, yeah.
I'm just imagining.
Hutch is just making a birthday cake in the sand, like, "Happy birthday to me."
It's my birthday.
He's
But
got
not
like
like,
a piece of
not like in a
driftwood.
sad way, just in a like, "It's my birthday," you know, like.
I'm building a birthday cake sandcastle. It's just like, hey, check this out.
Well, I'm excited because I'm going to go see Hutch this week. I'm going to go spend time with him, and because I mean, you're going to go see your family, and I'm going to go see one of my friends.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited this week. We're going to spend some time. So, but happy birthday, Hutch, and thank you for being awesome.
Yeah, thank you for being awesome.
Thank
really
you
nice.
for being a friend. Travel down the road back
I hope we get a copyright strike for that. All right, well, peace out.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
You got the social medias, we got the social medias. You got the Facebooks, we got the Facebooks. You got the Twitters, we got the Tweeters. We got the Instagrams, we don't really use that one too much, but you know, we're on there too. If there's something else, we probably got it. You can find them all in the description at the bottom. Okay,
I'm
well,
ready.
Brittany, you go ahead and start it. Hutch, let her know when you're ready.
I'm
ready.
Okay.
Hey, welcome back. So there is a topic. This one's a bit more serious, but I didn't want to ignore it. So there's been a lot of kind of another surge of Me Too revelations in the past week, maybe week and a half, and yeah, I just want to think that we should mention and kind of address it. It still fucking sucks, like that. We hear so many. A lot of them are pretty prominent people. But I don't get how so many people in this fucking like space are such shitbags to women.
Can you? So I didn't see this. What happened?
So
who got put on blast?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I guess this was a bad way to introduce it. So, there are so around, I guess, mostly Twitch. There've been a lot of women that have come out and detailed their experiences with other streamers that are predatory. And some of them, I'm not sure if some of them mentioned, rape and other like serious, offenses like that. I think some of them did, but it's just it's a surge of people. Some big names. One streamer I know that was accused. I used to watch sometimes. Swifty was one.
Damn, I didn't know about Swifty.
Yeah.
So I know you're focusing on like just a lot of Twitch right now, but the Me Too movement that has been going on has like been affecting more than just like streamers and gaming. Now, granted, these people are the faces of a lot of their communities, so they've been getting a lot of attacks and a lot of people coming out saying that this person is extremely toxic. But it's also been happening in the industry as well. Not just people who work at Twitch, people who work at these variety of game companies. And one I'm actually directly affected by. IGN, the executive producer of IGN, Steve Butts, recently had several women come out and talk about his predatory actions at work and how they were not able to, like, he would not let certain women be in front of the camera because they were ugly or something like that from his, like, that's what he would tell them. Yeah, that's what
he said. That was his excuse.
And then just a lot of things. And it was really weird because I've worked with Steve Butts before. And he used to be the EIC over at The Escapist. And like when we did our stuff with The Escapist, I had to work directly with him. I have coworkers that are very affected by this because all these people that they've worked for, they've came out with.
I mean, the gaming industry is like big, but it's also tight knit in such a way that all these people work with each other. And I think the thing that's so unsettling about the Me Too movement, that at least from like my perspective as a woman, is I've had these shitty things happen to me throughout my life, and maybe like I kept it to myself for several different reasons because I was ashamed of it or I didn't want to talk about it. I just wanted to move on, blah blah blah. But and you feel like, okay, this is just a thing that happened to me. It's probably not happening as often as you think it does. But then when other women start to come forward and tell their stories, it's like, holy fuck, this is happening all the goddamn time. Like, why? And it's simply because of that reason. Like, you have these people who are in a position of power, and for a lot of people, working in the gaming industry is a dream job. It's really hard to get into it, and once you get to one of these dream companies, you want to keep your job. And you're going to do what your boss is telling you to do. And I've even been in positions where I've worked for a company that's not a dream job. It's just a shit job. But when you're in the middle of it happening to you, you're not realizing how much it is until you take a step back and then you count up all the instances of bullshit that's happened. And I think that's just kind of like a survival mechanism we have, where we go through it and we think it's not that big of a deal. I'll just keep moving forward. So really, obviously I hate when everybody's like, well, why didn't you leave, or why didn't you stop it, or say something, blah, 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 because at the time you're just trying to get through it and survive, and also you're not trying to jeopardize your job. So you're going to put up with extra bullshit. But
and a lot of times too, it's your fucking job. It is the way that you make money, or it is the thing that is directly responsible for where you're at in the world. And it can be hard to say, I can, like, making a stand and potentially losing your job. That's terrifying. And yeah, I don't know. Brittany made a really good point. Like the games industry is toxic in a lot of different ways. And now I've never worked in it, but I have friends who have, and there was a period of my life where I really wanted to. And at the core of it, like Brittany's point about it's people's dream jobs, it's a thing of passion, and it's very unfortunate that fucking nerds who have whatever baggage or maladjustment or, you know, are like decide to shift that situation so that they can be a predator and take advantage of people underneath them or adjacent to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's hella frustrating.
Yeah.
We've experienced it very, I don't want to say subtly. I don't know how to phrase this, but like we have friends that we know directly and that have had this experience recently and just had like toxic managers or toxic bosses are getting out of that situation. And it's been a struggle to watch because like it sucks all around. Like sometimes like these are people that you look forward to seeing and then you're like, wow, how did I never see this terrible part of you? Because they don't show it to you.
All of your heroes are racist.
Yeah, exactly. And this was a big problem for me. My perspectives have really changed, obviously, from coming out recently. And most people are still treating me with like, basically with the same amount of like white male privilege I've always had, which has been interesting. But there's been a couple people who have treated me differently, and I've noticed it for the first time in my life. And it's been
weird, right?
It's been a really weird experience, and it's not good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it's been good as far not like the negative aspects aren't good, but I mean just like some people are treating me nicely. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been just a few incidents where I'm just like, why are you being like this all of a sudden?
Yeah.
And I don't, it's really strange how men don't know how to, like some men don't know how to talk and treat women when I'm just like, they're people. You treat them exactly the same as you would, as anyone else. And there's these weird like nerd bro culture who feel like they can't be sexist, but that mentality is making them sexist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's really bizarre to see, and it's been really bizarre to experience for the first time in my life. But I have a couple of friends I've talked to.
It's like the makeup with Brittany, where you're like, wow, this is kind of a pain in the ass. And she's like, yeah.
Like I'm not wearing makeup now, and I have scars on my face from pulling hair out. So there's a lot of aspects about being a woman and being perceived as a woman. They're fucking terrible. And that's not just gaming. That's the world over. But, those things applying to gaming, which is supposed to be a progressive, it's supposed to be a morally like correct attitude of people who think that they're not sexist. Do you think
that's the case?
No,
do you think
absolutely
that
not.
Gaming is supposed to be a progressive industry or field?
I think that people perceive it that way.
Okay.
Like most men perceive it that way.
I wonder why that is. And maybe it's just my understanding of like how companies operate, where I know, or maybe it's just like the number of remakes and sequels that we see, where I think of gaming companies as pretty fucking conservative.
Oh yeah, no, I think of
the industry as being full of like people who are artistic and creative, which doesn't intrinsically mean progressive.
I feel it's like faux progressive. Like they want to appear progressive.
Bingo.
But when you really get down to their core ideals, they're very conservative, and it's like, oh, okay, you were putting this thing out like that you were progressive, but I don't think you really are. So
yeah.
Like for a lot of reasons why, like I second guessed a lot of the Black Lives Matters comments that have come from companies. Like you just like it's that like virtue signaling kind of thing that we were talking about on that episode a couple episodes ago. It's very similar. and it's concerning. I'm seeing some companies putting their money where their mouth is and like actually like getting rid of these toxic people and whatnot.
Yeah, so going back to Twitch streamers, so I've been kind of taking a break from social media lately, for just like personal reasons, so I haven't been keeping up with the stories that much. But I've been hearing a lot of things from my coworkers at work, and one of the big topics of discussion is the streamer Dr. Disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
He was a big one that they haven't released, I don't think, why he got permabanned, but he apparently got permabanned from Twitch. And he was, you said he was the biggest.
He was pretty much their biggest
one
moneymaker.
of their biggest moneymakers on Twitch. But
that's like the ongoing mystery right now is he's been removed from their partner program and Discords as well, and nobody knows why. And there are a select few that are like saying on Twitter that they know why, and they can't say why. They don't feel comfortable. Bingo. And so everyone's like super speculating because it's like the big mystery right now.
We're all pretty sure some like statement's going to come out from him about it, but it's still going to be like a one-sided perspective.
I think it eventually will come out. I think there's just a period right now where they can't say it. It may be like a legality issue. They may not be legally allowed to say what's going on yet because we just don't know the nature of it.
Oh, I straight up asked some people. That's what they told me.
But it is interesting that Twitch, like, good for them if they, if they felt the need that whatever it is that he did, and they were like, okay, we obviously can't work with you anymore. So good for them for giving him the boot. And I'm not sure about, you mentioned another streamer, Hutch, but I really honestly haven't been keeping up with it, so I'm not really informed about it.
Don't watch any streamers, really. There's this trap that people and companies can get in where you have a large amount of your revenue coming from a person or a company or something like that. Like you see it a lot with agencies. Agencies will have one company that's like 80% of their business. So their primary goal then becomes to keep that person happy. And in Twitch's case, that meant like letting that individual get away with a lot more stuff than they might otherwise. But like in the end, the healthier thing and the better message to send to the world is to get away from that one person, even if they are a significant amount of revenue.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what was surprising was that like Twitch said that they were going to get rid of a bunch of people, and they got rid of a lot of smaller toxic people that people had complained about. Yeah, and I was like, okay, but what about these obviously big people
who are now they've been like getting away with things slowly over time, and now that they're big, they feel untouchable, and they're going to do more and more bullshit.
Yeah, he was especially a candidate for like, I mean. Big surprise, someone named Dr. Disrespect is being a shithole, but he was like just bluntly being like, yeah, I can do anything I want.
Yeah, and that's that weird mentality of like these companies protecting these people where it's like
that's the American dream.
Yeah, exactly.
The American dream is to become rich enough so that consequences don't apply or important enough.
Exactly.
And I think that's unfortunately the new social contract, the assumption that if you're valuable enough or useful enough monetarily, you can do whatever the fuck you want and everyone will get out of your way.
Yeah.
Hutch, did you want to talk about this for a little bit longer?
I don't have too much to add other than like, it's good that everyone. It's hard to have these discussions, but it's necessary. My hope is that people that are growing up. I know that growing up in the internet age has with so much bullshit on the internet it may appear that it warps a lot of people potentially to be even worse shitlords, but. It's the hope that we're having adult conversations about these very real things. It's a huge problem, and that people, the next generations will not, will be more, be better people.
Yeah.
I see your point. I agree with that mentality, but the nice thing about the internet, the people that are growing up in the internet age, is that because of it, we are actually able to hold these people accountable. Mm-hmm. Like enough people. The reason why the Me Too movement exists at all is not just because one person came out and said something. It's because one person said something and then inspired all these other people to come out and say, yes, this is happening.
Yeah.
I'm backing up these stories. That wouldn't exist really without the internet.
I think a weird mentality that people have, some of the like naysayers about these movements, is that they think, oh, well, back when I was a kid or back in the good old days or whatever, this wasn't happening. And it's like, it was happening. No one was talking about it. We didn't have a quick way to talk to each other about it. So
there was no fancy hashtag behind it.
It's always been happening.
It's the same with the Black Lives Matter. The cops have always been shooting non-white people. But now, we have technology and platforms that we can use to demonstrate that this is happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just it being rumor.
Outside of the gaming and the Me Too movement, this has actually been happening in the trans community as well. And like one of the biggest transphobes that had the biggest platform ever just got permanently banned from Twitter. And that was for exactly the same reasons. We all got together and said, Twitter fucking banned this person.
Yeah.
And they finally did.
Yeah.
And that's the internet coming together to be like, hey, the masses are saying this is what's morally right. We mostly all agree on it. Yes, there's a loud minority of people who are disagreeing with this or fighting it or finding some like what about argument for it or what about this argument for it. But in general, here's the new morality or here's what should be moral, and we need to strive to reach that level.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And I'm really glad this movement's happening all across the board. All these movements, not just the Me Too movement, but all of them. So, but
yeah, I mean, going back to the Black Lives one, all the action, has brought down tons of Confederate statues around the country, which is great.
Yeah.
That needs to happen. So
there's a lot of good things that are happening, but, we do need to remind everyone this is the focus is police police brutality and defund the police so that we can fund the community.
Yeah.
And those are topics that we need to keep pushing and talking about because we can get rid of Confederate statues, we can make sure that the Simpsons have have people of color voicing characters that are people of color, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But that's not what black people want. We need to fight for what black people and people of color want. And same thing with women. And these are all small movements and we need to keep fighting.
Yeah, I just realized that I shouldn't have just said just the statues, but that
You're
was
fine.
just one thing that came out.
Yeah, no,
I'm not saying that anything you said was bad. I'm just jumping off of where you started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to complete my thought. Yeah, with that.
Okay.
Because there's also the various police reforms. Also, I think a number of agencies have banned chokeholds and hopefully a lot more do as well.
But they've done that in the past.
Yeah,
so a lot of this goes back to Michelle's virtue signaling thing. A police department signing a thing that says, okay, I guess we won't shoot people
Doesn't
unless
mean
they
won't.
really deserve it. That's effectively meaningless without larger scale reform. And the Confederate statues coming down, a lot of that's people fucking tearing them down.
A lot of them is.
Yeah.
And some of the ones here in Raleigh, there's a person who has been arrested and is in jail for tearing a statue down.
Even though right after that, the city of Raleigh took the rest down.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's bullshit.
I think the sad thing about social change is that I think some people have the idea that if we push and push and push, these these, like, police will stop shooting black people, they'll take the racist statues down, they'll stop raping women, and
then it'll be okay.
But there's never going to be a point where everything just stops and everything is fine and good. Like, it is something that will get better over time, but we will always have to keep pushing and staying vigilant with that, because if we don't, it will slide back. Because that's just... It's
going to be generations of work, because, like, just because, like, the people who were being segregated are still alive. Mm-hmm. There's generations of horror and, like, pain that are associated with that, and that's still the case with women's rights. That's going to be the case with gay rights. That's going to be the case with police brutality. And we got to keep working on this for decades. Yeah. Because
it's
otherwise...
the societal equivalent of quitting smoking or like going to the gym or eating healthy. You know, it's
a change.
You have to always do it.
Right.
So
you can't be like, oh, I did a really good job not eating Cheetos for every meal yesterday, so now I can just eat Cheetos for every meal today.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So
thank you, Jairus, for lightening it up.
Michelle and I have stopped drinking soda, which is
been great. Here's my water.
Yeah, positive change like that. Like there are large things that need to change, but if one or two of those things change, it's not a victory.
Mm-hmm. It's a step.
It's part of a victory, but it could also easily slide back.
Yep.
And like we see that a lot, especially with everything going on right now. Like, we have Nazis again. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, always had them.
We always had them, but they're mainstream now. You know what I'm saying?
Now they're just coming out of the woodwork in droves.
That was what David Duke was trying to do. Mm-hmm. He was trying to bring neo-Nazism into the mainstream, and he succeeded.
Yep.
So that we're going to get into a whole nother topic there. But if we want to keep talking about this, we can. But we are definitely itching tortured to like making this a dual topic.
I kind of. We steered it a little bit farther away from the original intent, which
That's
is
fine.
Be kind to women and each other. Like,
listen
don't
to
be
them.
a shitlord.
Yep.
Believe women.
Believe women, yes.
If you haven't heard it yet, you shouldn't be a shitbag to people.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, on a personal note, I was really grateful because going into work, like, I work with a bunch of male coworkers. It's mostly males, and they do watch some of these streamers that have these allegations against them. So I wasn't sure how they were gonna react. I didn't know if they were going to defend these guys or what. But they straight up told me, they were like, you know what? Fuck these guys. Fuck them. If they're going to be shitholes, I don't care about them anymore. So I was like super grateful that was like, so I was like, oh wow, I was really surprised, and it was really nice. And I was like, that's pretty good. So, so shout out to my coworkers for being reasonable human beings.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd go that far knowing your coworkers.
That's true.
In this situation, they were reasonable.
Yeah. On this subject, though, I was very pleased because I wasn't sure how they would react. So
immediately afterwards, one of them probably like shotgunned a can of Cheese Whiz or some shit.
Probably. I mean, they're still garbage boys. They're still little raccoons, but at least they believe me and respect the things that I say. So
yeah.
Oh my god,
that's just that's all you can hope for.
Yeah,
really.
It's sad that like that bare minimum base level requirement of society is met, but we're happy about
it. Michelle, could you make me a gif of Stone Cold Steve Austin with 2 cans of Cheese Whiz, clanging them together, and then just chugging them?
Done. It's so much extra work, but I'm doing it for you. You know what? This is one of my birthday presents to you. Happy birthday, Hutch. I'm going to make that gift for you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, guys, we'll see you on the next segment. Bye.
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 Do you want to watch Heat Wave before anyone else? Well, there's an easy way to do that. Just back us up on Patreon at patreon.com/halfemptyetank and be the first to watch the episodes. Hi, welcome back to Heat Wave. On this last subject, we're going to talk about the 4th of July, which is this upcoming weekend. I'm really excited about it. We're not doing shit for it.
Yeah. So
it's weird.
Light your fireworks in your house this year. Social distancing, quarantine.
Yeah, so...
Don't do that, fucking assholes.
So generally, the way that we celebrate 4th of July is that we go to our friend's house. Usually Hutch has always had a 4th of July party. We're not having this one this year for obvious reasons. But I don't think he would have had it anyways, though, because you removed your pool.
Well, yeah, so people stopped coming to my 4th of July party, and I was like, there's no reason to keep this thing around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only reason to have a pool? It's just
Yes.
4th of July?
Or the
4th of July party was the reason why he invested so much money into that pool. I mean, to be honest, that's fair. And Hutch, I mean, not Hutch, Jairus, you would go to another friend's house too to do a bunch of 4th of July stuff. Yeah, so, and living with Hutch, it was hard for me to be like, all right, I'm going to bounce by. But my plan this year was to go to both as well. But due to circumstances, my plans are just, I'm going to go spend the night over at Hutch's house on the 3rd, and we're going to grill some food.
You guys are going to light snakes in the house?
You know what? Maybe. I'm not in the house, but I might bring like a little tiny thing of fireworks.
I have sparklers still.
Perfect.
Just what was it? The Spaceman
Sam.
Oh yeah, that one was amazing.
The best $25 you can spend at a fireworks stand.
in North Carolina, where nothing leaves the ground.
Exactly.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That is a really great little firework, though. What I really wanted to talk about, though, was like, the 4th of July is one of those times where we all four of us get really, really patriotic, and like we get patriotic usually in a ironic way,
hyperbolic, ironic way.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to talk about like our current state. This is a lot based on our last conversation. Like, do you guys feel actually patriotic?
Not really, honestly.
Lady friend and I were talking about that yesterday. Like, I'm not really feeling it right now.
Yeah, like I don't want to wear a shit ton of the American flag like I usually do this year. I
feel more embarrassed to be an American these days than I think I have in a very long time, if ever.
Yeah.
Just for the absolute. I mean, this is not everyone. I mean, we're still very much a country divided. But like when it comes to just simple things like wearing a fucking mask, and it's like, well, I don't want to because I don't give a fuck about anyone else. It's like, well, great. All right.
I feel like a lot of people are they're just spoiled brats, and they think because they're Americans they can do whatever they want to do. And they have that weird mentality that no one can tell them what to do because of the Constitution. Yeah. And they use that as like, I'm not wearing a mask because of the Constitution. And I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, ugh.
I'm really concerned with like our country as far as like our focus has always been on individualism. And like almost every country in the world, like the focus is on collectivism. And they are very focused on like, if we work together, we can achieve things. Yeah. Which I guess Americans have a bit of that. Like, we went to the moon kind of shit.
Only when like terrorists attack our buildings.
Yeah.
Like 20 years ago, then they're like, oh, never forget. But like when it comes to other things, it's just like, whatever, fuck it.
It's just,
I don't know.
Like this upcoming 4th of July has been really, really a conflicting like feeling, because I love seeing all my friends and rejoicing in the fact that we have freedoms and whatnot. And there's like a part of America that I do feel patriotic about, but I don't feel like that America exists anymore. Or at least right now, it's not the forefront.
Yeah.
So as we were talking about this, like where we ended up coming out is like, we are in a transitional period where we need to push our country. Like, we love parts of this country. Mm-hmm. We love the idealized concept of this country. There's a shit pile of baggage. There's a lot of weird stuff. Eric Andre has a really good Netflix special that you should check out. This segment brought to you by Netflix. But one of the things that he framed really nicely, it's in talking about some of this stuff, is just remember that America was founded by people who were too religiously conservative to get along in the UK.
Yeah.
Like that was the Pilgrims. And a lot of that baggage, like this shit that is still going on, is a lot of like unwiring societal norms created by
terrible
fucking hyper conservative Christians. Mm-hmm. People who wanted to be free to practice their radical beliefs that women weren't people. Mm-hmm. And probably witches also. And, you know, I think if we raise flags, we should raise them at half-mast. I think this is an opportunity to build like the world that we want, or at least fight for it. You know, and one of the things that I always go back to is like the stylized eagle that is on all of those like cheap Walmart shirts. That's clearly made by a person who's never fucking seen an eagle before.
Yeah.
Like that's not a real eagle.
Well,
it
even
is a stylized and idealized version, like distillation of the eagle into the most eagle-y eagle that has ever eagled.
And even the sound of an eagle is not correct. They use a hawk. We associate with that's like it's a hawk or something. I forget the actual bird, but it's apparently eagles don't sound like that. Eagles sound not as cool, I guess.
Yeah.
So whatever.
And you know, we can love bad movies. We can play bad video games. Michelle loves Dance Dance Revolution and Rock Band.
Damn.
And Mega
calling
Man.
Calling it out. All right.
You know, we can enjoy that. We can also like find a way to push towards better.
Yeah.
So kind of in the same vein of what you're talking about, one of my favorite memes that's been going around the internet lately is those like, you know how like conservatives had those like terrible fucking boomer memes, like this is America, we do this and we do that, you know? Mm-hmm. And my favorite ones is like a bunch of people were like, this is America, gay people can get married and, you know, women have the same rights as everyone else. And they're just going through like, they're doing it in like with the progressive mantra almost.
Yeah.
And that's been my favorite, like, just like play against like those boomer memes and whatnot. Because I've been seeing a lot of people not even reading them who are like sharing them and whatnot. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, okay.
My favorite are the real shit posty ones that are like, this is America. We eat guns for breakfast and we fuck terrorists and then we jerk off the good old fashioned hentai. Like those are like my favorite ones. My feelings on it is that I love my country, but it has a lot of work to do and I want to help improve it for the better. It's not perfect. It's not the greatest country in the world. I'm still American. I've lived here my entire life. I probably will live here for the rest of my life. Or at least at some point I'll come back. I don't know. We'll see. The future's so fucking weird right now. But I definitely do feel a bit of shame, like Hutch was saying, and I do want to improve it. And I agree with Jairus that, like, if I don't have a flag to put out for 4th of July, but if I did, it would be like half-mast. But the 4th of July is also my grandmother's birthday. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm just celebrating my grandma. When I was a kid, she convinced me that the fireworks that we would go and see was for her birthday. And I believed her.
That's a grandma power move.
It really was. She probably thought that was so funny because I was maybe like 5 or 6 and she was like, this is for my birthday.
I love how much bullshit your grandparents used to say to you and you believed.
Oh, yeah.
So I love it. Yeah, for me, I'm not like, the reason I asked this question is I've been like really, really, really feeling disillusioned with America. And this is the most like white middle-aged person thing to say in the world, but like seeing all of this bullshit that I'm learning about, all the shit that we've done to black people lately with the Black Lives Matter movement. Like I knew about slavery, I've known about segregation, I've known about these hundreds of years of shit we've done to them. But when you get into the fine details and you see what exactly was being done in certain areas and like it's just I've been so fucking disassociated with being an American that I've been struggling with like do I want to be associated with this?
Yeah.
Like
well, too bad you don't get a choice.
Exactly. I don't. And that's a thing, but it's been something that I've been having to get used to again, which has been really weird. And I want like I think everyone else here in the show, we want to make America better. We want to get to the point to where I feel like we could be proud of it, but we need to acknowledge where we come from and what we've done and what we are still doing. And it's nowhere near as bad as like what other people are experiencing, but it's something that I think white people especially need to fucking get with the program and be like, okay, yeah, we're not the greatest country in the world. We're not the greatest anything. We're the greatest at being shitty sometimes, and we need to stop that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so this country, we are lucky in many regards into, other countries like kill people for being gay, and whatnot. And granted, or the LGBT. Sorry, I always bumble the acronym.
They're fine.
The alphabet soup of people. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fairly recent that they, have been able to get the, sort of rights that, a lot of others and people enjoy. And, it's like, we were mentioning, it's progress. It's fighting for what we want to be an ideal America. So
Hutch, you're right. I think you're right in saying that, yes, this is not the worst place in the planet. There are worse places to be, but what I think part of my disillusionment and disassociation I'm having right now is the fact that with our current president and with the current like movement that he has created, I'm seeing how flimsy the America I thought we had is, and
I think that's important.
Yeah,
I think it's important to see that because we've regarded America as a universal absolute, as a constant, as the measuring stick that everything else is measured against.
Exactly.
And we're realizing like, oh shit, if like I think back to the people who were saying or thinking or feeling that Trump wouldn't get anything done. And I made that joke in the past too. And I feel shame and guilt because at the time in 2016, when I made those jokes, that was still with a model of our country that was resilient and stable. And our country has shown itself not be resilient and stable.
Yeah, like it's really surprising how much leadership matters, and like
what a novel concept. If you put an asshole shitbag racist in the highest position of power, he will fuck things up.
Yep.
Yeah, and like I don't this isn't to like say that I don't want to get political or whatnot. This isn't about Trump specifically. It's about the people that Trump has inspired. That's the thing that really bothers me.
I don't think this is his fault. Like he's not the sole architect. He's not playing six-dimensional chess to turn America racist. This is just revealing endemic issues that have existed for the entirety of America.
Yeah, and it's making me to the point that where I'm like, it's good. I'm glad. I don't want to ever have to live with a veil over my eyes and not see the world as it is. Like, I'm happy about that aspect of all of this, and it makes me concerned, like, what veils are left? What do I still not see? You know what I'm saying? And
that the earth is flat.
Oh God, here we go. But so it's I'm definitely feeling very disillusioned lately, and I have all this time to think about it.
Yeah, we have all the time in the world to be alone with our thoughts. So.
And just with the COVID numbers going back to the worst they've ever been right now, and like North Carolina specifically, we all are required to wear a mask at this point, which is great.
And
this should have been
aren't.
Yeah, people still aren't. I don't get it. So
and I'm just so angry. And I guess I just wanted to vent to all of you and just have like let this out of my brain. I'm very excited to go see my friend. I'm very excited to do like a little bit of the 4th of July stuff of like going out and grilling and being with people I love. But at the same time, I'm feeling very, very angry. And there's a lot of reasons why. And it's all of them are Americans. All of the reasons why I'm angry are American reasons.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to vent, I think, and I appreciate all of you for coming along on this little discussion.
Yeah, definitely.
You're welcome.
Do any of y'all have anything like last statements on like this? Like how are you feeling about patriotism?
I just sent an image to our group chat, to Jackie and Lori, you, just everything that's going on.
Yep, it's exactly what I saw today. That's actually the image that made me decide to do this topic.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like,
oh, no. Oh,
God. It's really surprising that that's how you kind of close this, Jairus, because I saw that this morning and I was like, I know what I'm talking about today. Yeah.
Yeah. So. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I can't add anything to that. That kind of sums things up. I like to always be optimistic, I guess, that, we can build us back to be better. The ideal sort of like America that we kind of, wanted, kind of thought that we were. Mm-hmm. We'll never actually get there, but we could, get somewhat there. So,
well, with that,
I hope that we can.
I think we're going to leave it there because I think that's about as positive as an ending as we're going to be able to get to. If you're watching the episode and you're like, wow, 2 back-to-back downers in a row, we're sorry. But at the same time, I think it's important for us to have these discussions. And I hope that you see us next week. We'll probably have a couple more positive
Also,
things to
what
say.
the fuck else are we going to talk about?
Yeah,
this
exactly.
is like all that's...
I agree with you, Jairus. I like this is stuff we have to talk about. But at the same time, I like to think of Heat Wave as a distraction sometimes. But at the same time, like we fucking need to talk. I want to talk to you because you're my friends, and this is what's on my mind, kind of shit.
Yeah.
And you're right. And with that, though, I'm going to go ahead and cut the episode. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
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 Smash like and subscribe.